The sun was barely peeking over the apartment buildings when Tyler's alarm chirped, but his day had already begun. Little Leo, a whirlwind of energy with a mop of sandy hair, was already up, tugging on Tyler's worn t-shirt. "Dada pancakes," he squealed, his eyes wide with morning excitement. Tyler chuckled, ruffling Leo's hair. "Pancakes it is, little man, but only if you help me flip them." Life as a single dad was a constant balancing act. Tyler worked long hours at the local diner, the smell of grease and coffee clinging to his clothes even after he'd changed. It wasn't much, but it paid the bills mostly. Every dollar was stretched thin, every hour accounted for. Yet when he looked at Leo with his bright smile and boundless curiosity, Tyler knew it was all worth it. Their small apartment might not have been fancy, but it was filled with laughter and love. Leo's drawings adorned the fridge, crayon masterpieces depicting stick figures holding hands. Tyler made sure every evening was special, whether it was reading a silly story in funny voices or building towering block castles that inevitably tumbled down with a joyful crash. Today, after pancakes and a quick cleanup, they were off to the park. It was Leo's favorite place, a patch of green where he could run free, chasing pigeons and climbing the bright red slide. Tyler, despite the tiredness that often settled deep in his bones, found his own joy in watching Leo. He'd push him on the swings until Leo's giggles echoed through the air, or pretend to be a monster, lumbering after his tiny, squealing prey. These moments, these simple, pure moments, were the treasures Tyler held most dear. He knew he wasn't rich in money, but he was rich in something far more valuable, the unconditional love of his son. The park was already bustling when Tyler and Leo arrived. Kids shrieked with delight on the swings, parents chatted on benches, and the air buzzed with happy chaos. Leo, released from Tyler's hand, immediately darted towards the sandbox, a tiny explorer ready for adventure. Tyler settled onto a nearby bench, keeping a watchful eye, a faint smile playing on his lips as Leo started digging with intense focus. A little girl, no older than Leo, stumbled near the edge of the sandbox, dropping her brightly colored shovel. Before she could even whimper, Tyler was there, gently picking up the shovel and handing it back to her with a kind word. The girl's mom, engrossed in a phone call, barely noticed. Tyler just smiled, used to being the extra set of eyes at the park. Later, Leo wanted to go on the big slide. It was tall, and a line of excited kids snaked up to it. Leo, usually patient, started to get fidgety. "Dada, my turn," he whined, nudging the child in front of him. Tyler calmly knelt down, explaining, "We have to wait our turn, buddy. Everyone gets a chance. How about we count the clouds while we wait?" He pointed to the sky, distracting Leo with shapes in the fluffy white clouds until it was finally their turn. As Leo zoomed down the slide, Tyler was at the bottom, arms open wide, catching him with a theatrical whoosh. Leo burst into delighted laughter, ready to climb again. Tyler patiently followed him up the steps, again and again, his own laughter mingling with Leo's. He made silly faces, pretended to trip, and even raced Leo to the top, always letting Leo win. Other parents watched, some with a weary look, others with a knowing nod, as Tyler effortlessly navigated the joyful demands of his son, his energy seemingly endless, his humor a constant companion. He was more than just a dad. He was Leo's best friend, his personal entertainer, and his unwavering rock. Tyler was mid-chase, pretending to be a roaring dinosaur when a friendly voice called out, "You're doing a great job with those kids." He paused, slightly out of breath, to see a woman with warm, kind eyes smiling at him from a nearby bench. She had bright, curly hair and a gentle smile. "Thanks," Tyler replied, still in character, letting out a playful growl that made Leo shriek with laughter as he darted behind a tree. The woman chuckled. "Honestly, I've been watching you. You have such a wonderful way with them. So much patience." She gestured vaguely to Leo and a couple of other children who were now gathered watching Tyler's dinosaur act with wide-eyed amusement. Tyler hadn't even noticed the other kids had joined their game, drawn in by his infectious energy. "It's all about keeping them entertained," Tyler said, wiping a pretend bead of sweat from his brow. He saw the woman's gaze linger on his diner uniform, visible beneath his open hoodie. It was probably a little rumpled from the morning rush and a few too many pancake flips. He often came straight from his shift to the park, maximizing his time with Leo. "Well, you've definitely got the knack," she said, her smile widening. "I'm Sarah, by the way." She extended a hand and Tyler shook it. Tyler. "And this little monster," he said, scooping up a giggling Leo, "is Leo." Sarah's eyes twinkled. "Leo's lucky to have such a fun babysitter. You must be the most popular one around." Tyler blinked, a small, amused smile touching his lips. He realized she thought he was a hired hand, looking after a group of children. It wasn't the first time someone had made that mistake, especially with his relaxed, easygoing manner and the way he seemed to connect with all the kids at the park. He just looked like he was having too much fun to be a weary parent, but he didn't correct her right away. He found a certain humor in the misunderstanding. Sarah watched as Tyler continued to play with Leo, their laughter echoing across the playground. A few minutes later, Leo, exhausted from dinosaur chasing, ran up to Tyler, wrapping his arms tightly around his leg. "Dada, I'm hungry," he announced, looking up with big, pleading eyes. Tyler gently scooped him up, settling Leo onto his hip. "Hungry, huh? Well, my little dinosaur, I think it's time for some super-duper hero-strength snacks." He pulled a small bag of apple slices and a juice box from his backpack, offering them to Leo. Sarah's smile faltered slightly. "Dada," she repeated softly, a flicker of surprise crossing her face. She looked from Leo, nestled comfortably against Tyler, to Tyler's easy, affectionate gaze at his son. It wasn't the formal, watchful look of a babysitter. It was the deep, undeniable connection of a parent. A light blush rose on Sarah's cheeks. "Oh, I am so sorry," she exclaimed, her voice filled with genuine embarrassment. "I just assumed, you're so good with him and you seem so young and your energy is incredible," she trailed off, gesturing vaguely. "I thought you were a very talented babysitter." Tyler chuckled, a warm, genuine sound. "No worries, it happens more often than you'd think," he said, giving Leo a playful squeeze. "He's my little shadow, my son." Sarah's eyes widened, her initial embarrassment quickly giving way to a profound sense of admiration. She watched Tyler offer Leo a piece of apple, gently wiping a smudge of juice from his cheek. The way he moved, the way he spoke to Leo, the obvious love shining in his eyes, it wasn't just patience and humor. It was devotion, pure and unconditional. The thought that he juggled all this, coming straight from a demanding job, made her respect him even more. She saw not just a fun-loving guy, but a truly strong and dedicated father. Sarah, still a little flustered but genuinely impressed, decided to sit closer to Tyler and Leo. "So, Tyler," she began, "it's truly amazing how you manage. You look like you just came from work and you're here, full of energy for Leo." "That's heroic." Tyler smiled a little shyly. "It's just what you do, right? Leo's my whole world. My job at the diner isn't glamorous, but it keeps us going, and every moment I get with him is precious." He watched Leo happily munching on an apple slice. "Sometimes it's tough, sure, long hours, not much sleep, but then I see his smile or he tells me about his day and it all just melts away." Sarah listened, truly listening. She saw the genuine love in his eyes when he spoke of Leo, and it touched her deeply. "That's a beautiful way to look at it," she said softly. "It sounds like you put everything into being a dad." "I try," Tyler admitted. "He deserves the best. We do bedtime stories, build blanket forts, and have adventure days at the library. It's not always easy to make ends meet, but we make our own fun." He paused, then added, a little more openly, "His mom isn't in the picture, so it's just us two against the world." A wave of empathy washed over Sarah. She saw the strength in his eyes, the quiet determination. It wasn't just a father caring for his son. It was a man giving every fiber of his being to raise a happy, loved child, often against odds she couldn't even imagine. "That makes what you do even more incredible, Tyler," she said, her voice sincere. "You're a wonderful dad." Their conversation flowed easily after that, not just about Leo, but about small things, everyday life. A spark of connection had ignited, born from admiration and a shared understanding of life's quiet struggles and profound joys. After that first meaningful chat, the park became more than just a place for Leo to play. It became a meeting spot for Tyler and Sarah. Their friendship blossomed naturally over the next few weeks, unfolding amidst the joyful chaos of swings, slides, and sandbox adventures. Sarah found herself looking forward to seeing Tyler. She'd arrive with a book, but often it remained unopened as she joined in their conversations. She learned about Tyler's dreams for Leo, his hopes for a better future, and the funny, everyday struggles of being a single parent. He, in turn, learned about Sarah's work as a graphic designer, her love for old movies, and her quiet passion for painting. Their talks often started with lighthearted teasing about Sarah's initial mistake. "Still think I'm just a really good babysitter, huh?" Tyler would joke, a twinkle in his eye as he expertly navigated Leo's demands for just one more push on the swing. Sarah would laugh, "Well, you certainly set a high bar for them." But beneath the playful banter were deeper exchanges. One afternoon, while Leo was absorbed in building a towering sandcastle, Tyler confided in Sarah about a particularly tough week at work, juggling shifts and a minor car repair. Sarah listened, offering not pity but understanding and a comforting, "You're doing amazing, Tyler." She shared her own challenges, too, of balancing creativity with the demands of her job, finding common ground in the everyday pressures of adult life. They discovered a shared love for bad puns and a mutual appreciation for the simple beauty of a sunny day at the park. Leo quickly grew fond of Sarah, often bringing her his latest found treasures, a shiny leaf, a smooth pebble, and including her in his games. Sarah would patiently listen to his stories, her genuine interest making Leo beam with pride. Laughter became a familiar sound between them, woven into the fabric of their park visits, solidifying a bond that was growing stronger with each shared story and every passing afternoon. One blustery afternoon at the park, a sudden gust of wind swept through, snatching Leo's favorite red balloon right from his grasp. It soared high into the sky, a bright speck against the gray clouds before disappearing completely. Leo, who had been laughing moments before, burst into heartbroken sobs. He threw himself onto the ground, inconsolable. Sarah, sitting nearby, watched with concern. Many parents might have offered a quick, "It's okay, we'll get another one," or simply tried to distract him. But Tyler didn't. He knelt beside Leo, letting him cry, offering a comforting hand on his back. "It's really sad when we lose something special, isn't it, buddy?" he said, his voice soft and understanding. Leo just sobbed harder. Tyler waited patiently for a few minutes, letting the big feelings pass. Then he gently lifted Leo into his arms. "You know what?" he whispered. "That balloon isn't really gone. It's on a grand adventure. Maybe it's flying to the moon to say hello to the stars, or maybe it's going to visit a friendly cloud and tell it all about our park." "Oh." Leo sniffled, looking up at his dad, a tiny spark of curiosity replacing some of his sadness. "To the moon." "To the moon and back," Tyler affirmed, his eyes twinkling. "And you know what else? We can draw a picture of its adventure when we get home. We can draw it having a tea party with a fluffy cloud or waving at us from a crescent moon. That way, we'll always remember its big journey." Sarah watched the transformation. Tyler didn't dismiss Leo's sadness. He acknowledged it, then gently guided him to a place of imagination and hope. Leo, still a little teary, actually started to smile, picturing his balloon's lunar tea party. Sarah felt a profound warmth spread through her. It wasn't just patience. It was a deep, intuitive understanding of a child's heart, combined with a creative spirit that could turn a moment of despair into one of wonder. In that moment, her admiration for Tyler deepened immeasurably, turning into something much more tender. The affection Sarah felt for Tyler after the balloon incident was a clear sign that their friendship was changing. It wasn't just admiration anymore. It was a warm, fluttering feeling in her chest whenever he smiled at her. She started noticing the small details, the way his hair fell across his forehead, the gentle crinkles around his eyes when he laughed, and how strong his hands looked, whether pushing Leo on a swing or wiping a tear from his son's cheek. Tyler, too, found himself thinking about Sarah more and more. He looked forward to their park visits, the highlight of his often tiring days. Her thoughtful questions, her genuine interest in his life, and her easy laughter made him feel seen and appreciated in a way he hadn't experienced in years. He found himself sharing things he hadn't told anyone else, comfortable in her presence. One sunny afternoon, after Leo had fallen asleep in his stroller, Tyler and Sarah sat on a bench, talking as the golden hour light painted the park. Tyler reached for a loose strand of hair that had escaped Sarah's curly locks and tucked it gently behind her ear. His touch was light, but it sent a shiver down Sarah's arm. Their eyes met, and in that shared glance, a silent understanding passed between them. The air crackled with unspoken feelings. "Sarah," Tyler began, his voice a little softer than usual, I really like spending time with you. More than just as a friend." Sarah's heart skipped a beat, a soft smile graced her lips. "I like spending time with you too, Tyler, a lot." She leaned a little closer, her gaze open and warm. "I think I like you more than just as a friend, too." The unspoken tension broke, replaced by a comfortable, joyful relief. They talked late into the evening, long after Leo woke up and demanded a final swing about what this new feeling meant. It was clear their bond had deepened, evolving naturally into something beautiful and hopeful. As Sarah and Tyler's relationship blossomed, Sarah spent more time not just at the park, but also visiting their small, cozy apartment. She saw firsthand the careful budgeting, the worn but loved toys, and the handwritten chore chart on the fridge. Tyler never complained about his low-paying diner job. He simply did what needed to be done, always with Leo's well-being at the forefront. One evening, while Tyler was cooking a simple pasta dinner, Sarah watched him. His hands, though used to flipping burgers and carrying heavy trays, were gentle as he stirred the sauce. Leo sat at the kitchen table, drawing a picture for Sarah, chattering happily. It struck Sarah with renewed clarity. Tyler wasn't a man defined by his job title or his bank account. His true worth, his incredible strength, came from something much deeper. She thought about the well-dressed men she'd met in her life, those with impressive careers and big houses. None of them had possessed the quiet resilience, the boundless patience, or the sheer, unwavering love that Tyler showed every single day. He built blanket forts that rivaled castles, invented stories that captivated Leo, and offered comfort with a depth Sarah had rarely seen. "You know," Sarah said softly, resting her chin on Tyler's shoulder as he tasted the pasta sauce, "most people measure strength by what you own or how much money you make." Tyler turned, a questioning look in his eyes. "Well, yeah, but I think true strength is what you have right here," she continued, gesturing between Tyler and Leo, who was now proudly holding up his drawing. "It's in your heart, your patience, and the way you love Leo. That's more powerful than any fancy job or big house." Tyler's gaze softened, a hint of vulnerability in his eyes. He wrapped an arm around Sarah, pulling her closer. He hadn't thought about it that way before, but her words resonated deep within him. He was rich in love, and that was all that truly mattered. Sarah had seen past the uniform and the modest apartment, straight to the core of who he was. She understood. Months later, the park still held a special magic for Tyler, Sarah, and Leo. Only now, Sarah wasn't just a friendly face on a bench. She was a beloved part of their family. On a particularly sunny Saturday, they were all there, a familiar scene but with a beautiful new harmony. Leo, now a little taller and even more adventurous, was building a grand fort out of sticks and leaves, with Sarah's cheerful help. Tyler watched them, a profound sense of peace settling over him. He leaned back on the bench, his hand finding Sarah's and giving it a gentle squeeze. She smiled, her eyes twinkling, and for a moment they just watched Leo, a shared joy radiating between them. Life was still busy, and Tyler still worked hard at the diner, but the burdens felt lighter now, shared with someone who truly understood and valued him for who he was. Sarah had brought a picnic basket, filled with Leo's favorite snacks and some homemade lemonade. As they ate, Leo recounted his epic battle with a particularly stubborn leaf, making Tyler and Sarah laugh. The simple meal felt like a feast, seasoned with love and laughter. Later, as the sun began to dip, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Leo snuggled between Tyler and Sarah on the bench, tired but content. He held a hand of each, his small fingers wrapped tightly around theirs. Tyler looked at Sarah, then at Leo, his heart overflowing. He had found not just a partner, but someone who saw his strength in the most important places, in his love for his son, in his unwavering dedication, and in the joy he brought to their lives. Their future stretched before them, not without challenges, but filled with the promise of shared moments, unconditional love, and the quiet, steady strength of a family built on kindness and devotion. Sarah had found that true richness wasn't in worldly things, but in the heart of a good man and the bright spirit of a loving child. And Tyler, in turn, had found his forever home right there with them.